was
She's
found.
been here several weeks.
I was thinking of dropping it off in some weird places just to see what the hell happened. And setting up a video camera. I'm in there.
See, and
And the little
thank
thing
you.
is clicking away.
Oh, in a backpack.
What is
Oh, there's a little clicker, timer indicator.
It's not. I
the
don't believe
whole
it's
history of
clicking.
Shabbat.
Is it?
Oh, there.
Mode.
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad I solved the backpack mystery.
Oh,
I'm happy with that. And so respecting the mic in this case means, you know, if you're out there, please talk in a whisper so that people can be heard. Second thing is do not disturb the poet, even however disturbed they may appear. The next thing is the link over there. That takes you to the places where the videos from this evening are stored. And I saved some of them in another place, so there's, I mean, if I save special chunks and pieces and send them to people, so that's a different place altogether. It's a great night. I've been reminded to tell you that next week, the 18th, is the last Sacred for this year. We come back on the 15th of January, and that's when Sally Love Saunders will be celebrating her 80th birthday here with cake and things like that. So she'll be here for that. That'll be great, but I wanted to make sure 18th is the last one next week, and after that, it is the 15th. And there's other things, but I will remember them in due course and interrupt proceedings to take care of them. Oh, I'm going to do the door prize. Oh, I forgot one thing. This for me? Yeah. Yes. I'm going to put this in my pocket. All right. We do have still Jack Foley honorary sandwiches, and if you've signed in over there, then I'm shuffling these cards, and the first card that I pick, who is for a person who is here, then they will take this envelope that I have, and they are entitled to a sandwich and a drink or whatever they want to do with that money. Jack Foley gave it to me in terms of paying me for something that I didn't really understand, so I said, I'll give it away. He said, fine. I said, okay. The Jack Foley honorary sandwiches, the honorary sandwich. Can I give you a number from 1 through 10?
27.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Who is 13?
I'm only 13 years old. You mean how old we are? I'm 13 years old.
Not that many.
Karen?
Karen. Is Karen here? Is Karen here? Oh, no, she's not here. Okay, then. 19. She'll be here later.
Oh. 19, that's kind of close.
Marco.
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 Marco Hart.
Marco.
The envelope, please.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
That's yours.
Lucky guy, you know,
You
Marco.
explained it, but I'll have to figure it out quietly.
The next thing is a bit of an announcement. If you know Clara Sue, then you'll probably also know that she has the Clarion Center for the Arts. And between now and the 22nd, they're doing the trial of Ebenezer Scrooge. These are the relevant informations. I always sent it out in the email, but these are actually things you could take and utilize to get you there. We saw it, Wendy and I saw it on opening night, and it was very funny. Wendy was laughing a lot. I was chuckling. I always chuckle at best from a hard audience. So the other door prizes. Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal from 2014, After the Change. The Sopranos, music from the original series.
Wow, good stuff.
Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal featuring Greg Pond.
Yeah, oh yeah, Greg Pond. Sorry about, thank you for that. And piano, vocal, guitar, Tracy Chapman. So if you're into guitar, or you know someone who is,
With the lyrics there too?
the lyrics are there too.
I wish I had $115.
And Lennon, the solo years, similar kind of thing, in case you're into music. And then Towards the Light by Martin Hickel. He's featured here a few times over the years. There's other things that I have, but I put them in the sack so I don't have to take care of them. And then, of course, there are the non-prize prizes, which is choosing the theme for next week. The Last Word, which is the person who kicks off and ends the second half, Karen Melander, is that. Being a co-pilot, of which we have 3, I am giving up the timer to Antoinette. She's going to try it out there because it's a difficult thing. Being the other co-pilot, the keynote who speaks first and kicks off the evening, comes back to the open mic, and then the mini feature, an 8-minute slot in the second half.
Can I ask
So-
a question about the evening if someone picks the theme, is
Yes.
that published anywhere for people who missed?
I send it out on the email and also on the Facebook group.
It's up there?
It's up
Okay.
there, yeah. So, and it's like every week.
Oh, I know.
And, this week's theme is
Leaking pipe.
leaking pipes. And mini features Tommy Avicola. Keynote is Britt. Feature is Georgette Howington. Yes, and other play. Oh, there's 2 other prizes. This shirt, which was given to me a long time ago, I never wanted to wear it. I put it on, it doesn't fit. It's too small. Same story with this jacket. They're nice, so I laundered them and everything. But the thing is, like, I can't wear them. Even they're too big for Wendy and too small for me. So someone, will say, yes, I'll take one of those. There we go. So with that all said and done, actually we're not said and done. Will our keynote of the evening, Mr. Britt Peter, come up, hold forth, or fifth, and so forth and so forth and so on. Thank you. All right.
Lyell's Hypothesis Again by Kenneth Rexroth. An attempt to explain the former changes of the Earth's surface by causes now in operation. The mountain road ends here, broken away in the chasm where the bridge washed out years ago. The first scarlet larkspur glitters in the first patch of April morning sunlight. The engorged creek roars and rustles like a military ball. Here by the waterfall, insuperable life flushed with the equinox, sentient and sentimental, falls away to the sea and death. The tissue of sympathy and agony that binds the flesh in its nessus shirt, the clotted cobweb of unself and self, sheds itself and flecks the sun's bed with darts of blossom like flagellant blood above the water bursting in the vibrant air. This ego, bound by personal tragedy and the vast impersonal vindictiveness, goes on, of the ruined and ruining world, pauses in this immortality, as passionate, as apathetic as the lava flow that burned here once and stopped here and said, this far and no further, and spoke thereafter in the simple diction of stone. Naked in the warm April air, we lie under the redwoods in the sunny lee of a cliff. As you kneel above me, I see tiny red marks on your flanks like bites where the redwood cones had pressed into your flesh. You can find just the same marks in the lignite in the cliff over our heads. Sequoia, Langdorfia before the ice, and sempervirens afterwards. There is little difference except for all those years. Here in the sweet, moribund fetor of spring flowers, washed flotsam and jetsam together, cool and naked together under this tree for a moment, we have escaped the bitterness of love and love lost and love betrayed. And what might have been and what might be fall equally away with what is and leave only these ideograms printed on the immortal hydrocarbons of flesh and stone.
Is that Bill?
Bill, you're up.
Hey, Bill.
And who's after Bill?
Mr.
AJ.
AJ's after Bill. Go.
I didn't want to interfere with that.
The transfer of data, yes, we
that
understand.
transfer of data.
Yeah, just make it a little.
Get my ocular prosthesis on here.
Oh, just two-handed like that. Right.
Bill, do you want that lower, the mic?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Nope, it's good.
You good?
I'm good. Thank you.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Sorry. Just get on the mic, you know.
No, that'd be uncomfortable.
That'd be rude.
Yeah, it would. Well, I was just thinking about, you know, us, the poets in the community, in the context of the world we live in, you know. So, polished pebbles. In stealth we band together. Our tongues sling our polished pebbles, gathered of our hearts, against the massive walls and against the ravenous beast coiled inside, tended and fed by the gray-suited minions, unctuous and smug and cruel, basking in the illusion of reflected power. Our beautiful stones chip small chunks from the massive walls made of dogma and orthodoxy, fitted together with the mortar of cynicism. They do not disturb the relentless spiral dance of the all-consuming coiled beast. We ask among ourselves, what is this beast and from where did it come? The answer comes in whispers, carried by the midnight wind, and echoes inside our skulls. It came from us. It came from each of us, from us all. It began inside us small and cute as a wolf cub. We each said, this is a harmless thing. I will keep it and feed it and control it and let it perform for me. But it grew and grew inside like a chick inside an egg until it had consumed us. Then it broke free of us and leapt out into the world. Turn page. Yes, accomplished that. Again, we ask among ourselves, if this has come from us, why do we not know its name? This time the sledgehammer winds of noon hammer the answer, because it has no name. When it was a small thing inside you, it was called greed. But loosed into the world, greed mingled with greed. All the colors of greed merged and collapsed into each other until they compressed into one single thing, a naked singularity. To call this present thing greed is to call diamonds cold. It has become an all-consuming black hole in human life beyond the limits of naming. When the sledgehammer winds swing off toward evening, we pause to watch the beast being fed. Complete watersheds, forests, rivers, whole species of life, ocean's bounty, the lives of the innocent and guilty. The food of the hungry, the clothes of the cold, the laughter of children, all disappearing into that voracious maw. The air of our lungs, the future of our offspring, the history of our ancestors, all spinning into that omnivorous spiral dance. We look at the monstrous beast in its spiral dance. We look at the massive walls that protect it. We look at the small dents and chips in those walls from our polished stones, and our thoughts shrink. Our thoughts say, this is futile. Our thoughts say, it is hopeless. Give up. Accept your fate. Then our hearts cry out, no, we do not accept this fate. It doesn't matter if it is hopeless. It doesn't matter. We must do what we must do. So again, we are on the riverbank searching for the beautiful stones that our hearts can polish and our tongues can sling.
AJ and then DL.
AJ then D. Allen.
Yay! AJ!
This, she needs to see it.
Another wall is the new one.
Alright, we good? We good? We good? Are we good here? We're good. Thank you. Thank you. All rise, please. Thank you. Please rise. All rise. All rise. Not or not. However, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God.
Depends.
Your Honor, yes, I do solemnly swear to tell the truth. The truth, Your Honor, yes, the truth I was speaking. Don't give up. This is time to give up, I guess they say. Sight or no sight. Take the tea out of the tripping and you're ripping. Slipping down the sidewalk and you're gripping. Everything that you've been ripping. Take the tea and you're ripping and you're tripping again. That's what it is, Jody, 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 goes on in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Johnny, Hosanna in the highest. Yes, I'm speaking it. Certainly as moment passes, raining ahead, circle other chatter, another day turns to night with the yearning, snickers and chuckles, simple words are recorded. All rise, court of law. Held up, court of law. Trumpet sound. Court of law. Push it to the glitter. Wonder what the glass is. Reflection really by me. Just a little flashier, transparent as it learns. It's off. It's on. Reporting with the Lord. The truth. The thing is that one more time. That's the top. Right on the top. Take the pee out of the tripping and ripping. Sleeping down the sidewalk and you're gripping. Everything that you've been ripping and said, put the T in front of ripping and you're tripping again. That's the tap. Your Honor.
Allen, and then Edward Mike Hugh, who is honored, and we are honored. Not to mention being honored and stuff like that. I'll stop now. Connie Alvarado. I saw that. All right, sorry.
3 letters describe the last act. WTF. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. What the fuck was that? Alright. I only have one poem this evening. Based on actual events, this is called Point Reyes. 4 years of dreaming about visiting that famous North Bay seashore. 4 years of pondering about reaching that mighty lighthouse above the tides. And 4 years hence, I was finally there. A break was needed from Eastmont. I haven't heard any gunshots or police sirens ever in Point Reyes. Hawks glided in their own piece of sky above a valley in Olima where the California grizzly once made itself at home. Horse stables, dairy farms, a model Indian village, a wild skunk hidden in the golden pasture, more commonplace there. A small family of deer scampered into the deep woods upon spotting a slim, bald, black intruder entering their domain. The elephant seals perched on coastal rocks. The legendary gray whales who send their song from the sea to watchers on shore. The fabled lighthouse that sends a bright beacon to sea-bound visitors after dusk begins. The rumored long incline, curved and leading to the light of Point Reyes. We're literal miles away, remaining legends, fables, rumors to this big city boy. From my short break, I remain thankful for the few sights I've seen, regretful for the many I've missed. That poem was called Point Reyes, based on a trip that I took to the farther North Bay about 4 years ago. And I wanted to go to Point Reyes so badly, but the farthest I have gotten to that area was Olema, California. Go figure.
Aww.
From this mic to your ears, I'm D. Allen.
And after Edward is Brett.
Tony.
Tony. Yeah.
Olema is a great place to go to. If you could go to one place, I think sometimes Olema, and do the walking there.
All beautiful.
Yeah. Amanda was a fish seller from Kirtaminda. She loved a sailor and he loved her, and they were happy together. But she went to Copenhagen, and there she met students, medical students, and she fell into troubles. So she could never go back, never go home to Kirtaminda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Growing up unknowing, growing up unknowing is about leaving a message accruing gradually out of a pool of variations, just as you go out into the sun of broken glass for the customary words, every word joined, like the ox to the cart. You go out clumsy, red-eyed, eggshell thin, drinking evenings, thickening soft, sometimes quelling angers, getting jealous, maybe alone, of course, and trying again before the sunsets fade. With a lot of ifs, the way photography winds over shifting time. Thanks.
Round and my cue. If you don't know that.
Brett, and after Brett is Owen.
Britt. Now he's coming up. He is the keynote reading somebody else's poem, so he's coming back for the open. This is our private. I might even repeat it if we got 6.
Okay, 12, 9, 19. Being king isn't easy anymore. People get in the way. Being an elected king is even harder. You have to break so many rules, screw over so many people, constitutions and friendly nations. Being king is a hardship on one man's mental capacity. Leaky pipes. How can you mention leaky pipes without mentioning the greedy bastards and their free ticket to lay pipe across our common lands, their routes of endangerment, their fouling sacred ground and our waters? The barking dogs and braves on horseback at Standing Rock are not forgotten. Leaky pipes. I don't think of old men and their troubles. when I hear the phrase leaky pipes. I think of that old white house on Dwight Way across from the Troy Manhattan Laundry, with all the plumbing draped along the outside walls. A house I had to myself before they tore it down. Flush the toilet, actually pull the chain there, and hear a massive groan that rattled every wall, and the pictures hanging on them. Lucky poverty and leaky pipes kept in mind that, and hearing the records of Louis Armstrong and Hot Five being played on a moonlight night in that empty house.
Nice. Hey, Peter. Oh, man.
Kerr? This is why we want you to write it.
Oh, Kerr. Yes, it's short for cursive writer. It's his new moniker.
It's the curve.
The Kerr. Not C-U-R-R, mind you, just C-U-R. Just people have to be sure.
But it's not a K.
Ha
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Good. Very good.
Across, this is my latest poem. Across the white plains there come Ma Shali, the wizard of drum kicking out and bitching to no one after the other. Away, foe, less than enough is more than I have. Muffin stuff, scan the skies for more rhyme and poisier. Turn about, a band is fair play, the fair play of cries and whispers, all about you and no other. Smother all with cheer and goodwill. Come again, there is more to mean less than I can. Shouting about. Coral. Two enigmas come to rest above the orchard. I say best and worst, there is war and peace, so and more, yes, more of the same and sustenance to you about sand and surf and libraries that begat more love, and I sat down on my wooden chair. This poem is like the old man in the sea. The old man struggles against the sharks and the nothing of the water and sky, fishing thee. Cold, evening settles, the cold has come. Crisp Indian summer was Indian unseasonable and warm. It is now chill December, and this is the way it is. Perhaps now it will stay that way. Snow, thank God, is not our thing. Bare bright are the branches. Scare the wits out of children and others that still make and bake their cake. Nerves creep in, but you hope that the time will disappear. Fold up and do nothing. Nothing at all. Balls are something to roll. Practice. Learn and earn all the while. It is enough at all to smile your way to heaven in all its glory. Shine it on. It's small and worrisome. You should take for granted. There are things to make for all to see. Bake the bread of life. It is enough to shed one's fears of the known and what they know. What they know is like the iron gate of nonentity and disbelief. Rock around, cock and dock, rock and roll your way into the next country. Precocity. On the shore the bathers wade far back in the park. Shade is cold, the sun is bright and shallow to the quiet of the sand and the quagmire that is life and liberty and property and the prosperity of the soul. Love finds a way, even in the freezing death from wind and sea. Save, throw up a stone. Last stand. Yesterday the stands were aglow with cheering and madness, a flow of booze and heads in the crowd. Many faces with a sameness about them. Flowers away with men. Showers are on the way in another month or two. You smother your feelings of cold and boredom. Of course it is the end game and the result of all mankind, its foibles and trials. Football, the result of years of strife and travail. Sacred grounds. Sunrise, surprise, see all who bear up under our screw and work. All under our plunder and blunder into the valley. Asunder and wonder there is out there and out there. Why and moo? The yoke of rhyme. I am riding underneath a sky of darkness and gloom. Yes, my friend, gloom is back, and I ride on the sand of knowledge and surf. Surprises come and go at sunrise. The sky is dark, like a wall of cement. Poema. This life. I live to live and to love as best I can. I jive myself, but I wonder about people I meet. Not asunder, but keep tight rambling, a class of myself about myself. Bay Area, the comings and goings of people, all of whom come above me, above me, all of them. My poem breaks for the pole like free verse, free at last. Rhymes come and go, they clang like Poe, drunk and mystic of life, of American life and letters.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cursive writer.
Thank you.
Cursive writer.
All right, everybody, just remember this.
Just because you steal something
Doesn't belong to you.
Everybody do it except him. Just because you steal something
doesn't mean it belongs to you.
You're
This is still a lonely land.
God, you guys got it all. Just because you steal something doesn't mean you own it. This is still Indian country, and you live on a lonely land.
Thank you. I know.
We'll get it eventually.
It's like teaching.
All right, the theme is leaky pipes. Someone who came up with that.
Yahoo!
Leaky pipes. I want to acknowledge Britt's piece. I've written pieces about Standing Rock on this very issue, but I'm keeping this one short tonight. Leaky pipes. Our leaky pipes of petroleum crisscross USA, breaking, rendering grounds useless. More sites renamed national sacrifice areas, where we sacrifice this land, water to whom? Thank you.
Hi.
Oh boy. Got that sex drive. Got that sex drive, whether some like it or not, that sex drive. Drive, they say, driving at age 90, no longer rise on call, still talk about it. Little blue pills where wives had enough, now really had enough. A lot of women seemed like there was a whole lot of pounding away. Some men actually make love, caress, mesmerize, taking cues from feminine as she takes yours. Chant, response, chant. She takes control after all. She's the reason you're here. Response, chant, love, conversations, whispers, cries, when best ecstasy. More to this than just the missionary style. So take your positions. Got that sex drive, must control, say religious politicians, lawyers. They got all that sex drive on the down low ever since the depths of time. Give the masses pablum, guns, sin, guilt, keep them full. Kill humans so most never learn to become good little Homo sapiens. Send them to the junkie as they think they've found sweetness. Finally, darkening. Darkening skies ready to give birth. Nothing unusual here except either more often not enough or it comes all at the wrong time. Darkening mindsets, attitudes, beliefs with thoughts of malice, discontent, pissed, not kidding, their corrupt, spoiled ways as they try to force entry into your inner selves. Some expel, others take in, losing their minds as they sell humanity to the highest bidder. What would you expect in lands of USA where churches accept Visa, MasterCard, hail any card, precious resources, and of course, hard, cold cash? Jesus West, Joel Osteen, Jay-Z gonna make a whole lot of hard, cold cash as the Kardashians epitomize of the self-possessed queen kings of narcissism make millions going to billions. As if men, women are supposed to fall at their feet, worship them as for the money they make. Bend your knees as they pass. These are the swines we throw pearls before. Wisdom, truth has no place here. Don't see beauty when I look, deliver me from beauty. Jesus wants it that way. After all, God wants you to be rich if you believe in Him. Build that megachurch, promote that music, bring people into the oldest of cults, Christianity, though not the only ones on the block selling madness. Tongues darkened, language speaks in forked tongue, pretending speaking in righteous sacred language. Look out across the horizon. Do you see one human being left standing?
Thank you, Carl.
And after Buford is Robert.
After Buford, we got you on. And Buford, how are you today?
I am just about as good as I can get, I think.
Good.
Whatever that means.
Well, that's better than anything else.
Woo! Rain and you. In the rain, after poetry, you. That's my longest poem.
It says it all.
You got it. You got it going on, brother. What is it with you, brother man, playing with words? This is called, this, a little bit more rain. You know, we got too much. Okay, this is called, I grew up in the rainiest city in the United States along with Seattle. We were either number one or number two.
Which is what?
Mobile, Alabama.
Wow.
Rain pain. It's raining, dropping off my jacket. My pen leaks. No, it's the only thing that isn't doing that tonight. Not cool folks. People are violent, their hearts cold, except you and me.
Nice.
All right? Tooth-filled, what does it say over there? Tooth-filled, hey, I still have some plenty left. The young dentist plugs the hole in my already gone tooth with cotton. Life's hard sometimes. Little baby poems tonight. Hat. The talented poet wears tasty hats. Political on the hard left.
Yeah. Robert Rubino. Oh, God, say, give him a round of applause. Run it up in here.
This poem is in memory of Peter Gregg. He was a classmate of mine at Monsignor McClancy High School in East Elmhurst, New York. Yahweh in Queens, 1961 to 1965. We nicknamed him Yahweh after the crazy, angry Old Testament deity because the celibate, young buck, black-robed principal of our all-boys Catholic high school seemed omnipotent and omnipresent, dispensing tough love, law, and order with a fist to the sternum, or knee to the scrotum, or hard-pressed knuckles to the top of the skull, or ritualistic butt-bearing paddling with a paddle that looked like an oar from the wreck of the Hesperus. In a stentorian voice steeped in sanctimony, Yahweh regularly reminded us that masturbation, always referred to as self-abuse, while neither natural nor harmless, instead was a mortal sin, punishable by eternal hellfire damnation. Well, damn. And other times, sounding like an unfunny Fred Flintstone, Yahweh often rang righteous, profuse praise upon the God-fearing, flag-waving John Birch Society, and upon Barry Goldwater, his knight in shining nuclear armor. One of our classmates, a round, red-faced, fusty boy who for 4 years absorbed loneliness and innuendo, like a true believing saintly stoic crusader, jumped to eternity from the Queensboro Bridge, surely a mortal sin if there ever was one, while we survivors lockstepped to pomp and circumstance and endured a grim graduation day steeped in Yahweh's Pledge of Allegiance speeches condemning soulless communism's godlessness while linking us with God and God's Son and God's Mother. Thank you.
Wow, wow. And now you come to me. Ha. Good luck with that. So, leaky pipes, I'm taking that to a different area. This is a haiku. There's a couple in here, so. All right. 30th anniversary. Just when I think she can't say it any other way, she does. Were it not for her eyes upon me in that one intimate moment with mine on hers, both of us reflecting in and through one another's, were it not for this one moment where we were, as we always have been, together so perfect, still on that one day, one morning, where in one small moment we found more than could be found in all the eternities which came before, as well as those that will still certainly come after. In that moment, were it not for her eyes upon me, in joy, in love, in the presence of all we hold dear, all we indeed hold of this world. Oh, yes, for I might have wondered, were it not for her eyes then and there, what would have become of me without all that? Okay, and then this is leaky pipes, but in a different direction. Those are about my wife, Wendy, who is not here, but she says to say hello.
Hello, Wendy.
So this is segueing to the political. Why are they killed? It is a simple question, really, and today, at this tiny moment, I direct it to the Saudi government. But as you'll soon surmise, there are others holding on to the short end of this shit stick. I ask the men there, why is it okay to kill their own mothers, sisters, daughters, or lovers for phoning, texting, driving, enjoying the sun on their faces, talking with a friend? What is their dreams of a life made up from their preference, their choice? What does having a sense of humor, laughing beautifully, or wanting the simple things in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness have to do with brutal assaults and murderous battery, rape, slavery, or the acid slap in the face? What is it about family honor? Why, when we hear of their moaning or mournful imprecations, do we not call their men out? How is that we recuse ourselves and do not ride to their rescue? Is it because of their hijab? Where are the white hats? Yes, all they want are simple things: freedom of the mind, justice for the soul, and unlimited peace in their feeling, emotional hearts. When will we reach out our hands? When will we answer our own big heart's unending call for love? Inquiring minds want to know. In supplication, I proffer these considerations, these notes, to everyone I know. Amen.
Amen.
Guy.
Oh, this is Guy. Give him a nice round. Hey, Guy. Get them all framed in there. Get it a little adjusted for your preferences, and the mic designed with your mind. Okay, I'm not doing that on purpose. There she is. Hope that's good. All right.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hello. It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to share one piece. It's called A Little Light Between Friends. What's a little rain between friends, says Elm, his palms open and upturned, his smile gleaming under the hood of his substantial raincoat. I'm an umbrella type myself, and I hold my pink flamingo at an angle against the wind and rain, creating a dry perimeter surrounded by storm. We're moving away from each other, though neither of us is walking. Maybe it's the street beneath us. Maybe it's the actual city changing. Maybe the tectonic plates that hold friendships fast have shifted. Something's come up, says Elm, his smile growing distant, locket size in my mind. We can grow fat, we can grow thin, we can grow old and distant too. And that's the charm of it. The prize that tumbles out of the gumball chute when the silver handle turns and the coin is spent. The rain's steady now, and I've reached the will it ever stop point, and that's when Elm gets off, wearing that coat that he loved, that made him eager for hard weather, that kept him impervious and warm. I close my flamingo umbrella, shake off the drops as the sky clears. The street's empty now, but full of strangers, sun drying the pavement where we once stood. The luster of light after a rain, a light we both loved, love still.
Very good.
Thank you, guys. I'm holding this over. So I'm not going to do the intro here.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to introduce you.
Thank you.
One of my favorite, I always say this, one of my favorite parts of the evening is I get to introduce somebody and usually heaping praise upon them. with unabashedness. Is that a word?
It is now.
Okay.
Still is.
Now.
All right, so keeping it really simple. There are words that can describe the poet. That's Georgia Howington, by the way, is the feature of the evening. I've said that, but there are words which come to mind, and a simple word, a word that is often used but ignored, the word appreciate. Appreciate. You take that word back into history, it has some meanings. And what I mean by it here is someone who takes value from, sees value in, finds value in the simple observations, in the self-presence of the poet, that it comes to be as you become a poet, as you write, as it happens. You're somewhere, in her case, she's oftentimes out in nature, and that's a beautifully inspiring place. There are millions and millions and millions of things to do out there. Inspiration is never ending. It's like the sunshine falling down, hitting everything that you happen to see. Millions of blades of grass, thousands upon thousands of millions of leaves and all the animals. She's an appreciator of life, an appreciator of the heart, of how the heart and soul and mind move to create poetry. She has a sense of language. She appreciates words. She appreciates history. She appreciates the knowledge that comes from being aware of appreciation and where it moves and where it takes you. Everybody has something they appreciate, and she appreciates poetry, and we are going to appreciate her in just a moment as soon as I stop my rambling, and I'll adjust this. So welcome Georgette Howington here. Please give her a nice round, and I'll adjust this.
That's really hard to live up to.
You'll see that that's not really true.
Gee, thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you, Dan. You are something else. All the years you supported us, our poetry community. I'd like to also thank some of my friends, Becky and Jim, who came all the way from Benicia.
Wow.
And my sister Bruce, and my cousin Diane, who's never been to a poetry reading. This is her very first.
Oh, wow.
So, anyway, I'm a naturalist, and I'm an activist in the conservation community in the Bay Area. I have been for about 30 years. This is quite a long time. And I'm also an avid gardener. Thanks, Dee. Dee's my good friend. My theme tonight is ikigai, which means reason for being, and it's a Japanese phrase. The French have one also that's similar, raison d'être.
Wow.
The Japanese call it ikigai. And my poetry is going to be about nature mostly, a few about my family. And I have a few haibun. Does everybody know what a haibun is here?
Probably, I know, but I think it's maybe...
Dee does, okay. Haibun combines a prose poem with a haiku. The haiku usually ends the poem as a sort of whispery and insightful postscript to the prose of the beginning of the poem. Another way of looking at the form is thinking of haibun as highly focused testimony or recollection of a journey composed of a prose poem and ending with a meaningful murmur of sorts, a haiku. And it's loosely formed, so you have license with it. Basho, the haiku master in Japan, created this in the 17th century. So since my theme is ikigai, before each poem I'm just going to say a couple of words that point toward ikigai. For me, poetry is like a dream, and it's a channeling of mystery and the mysticism. So for each person, a poem means something different. This poem, to me, points toward activism and change. And this is a haibun, the chosen one. Christians supporting Trump are right. U.S. pulls out of Paris climate agreement. scraps the Clean Power Plan. EPA loosens regulations on toxic air pollution, rescinds methane flaring rules, weakens fuel economy rules, revokes flood standards for sea level rise, waters of the U.S. rule revocation, NOAA green light seismic air gun blast for oil and gas drilling, okay. Relaxes sage grouse protection, guts the Endangered Species Act and the Migratory Treaty Act, dramatically downsizes national monuments, logging increased on public lands, drops climate change from list of security threats, EPA criminal enforcement hits a 30-year low. Human destiny, biblical prophecies, the second coming. Trump, yes, is the one. Just see the reality. He is Satan's son. Unfortunately, I believe them. Okay, so observe the unseen. And this is another high button. And this is leaky pipes. Yeah. Water meter spinning. Something askew. Where is the culprit? Not the toilets, nor under the sinks, not behind the washing machine. It must be outside. Must be. A mud puddle stands under the garden faucet. Salamander smiles. So probably everybody here knows what a tonka is.
I would explain it.
Okay. This is a beautiful translation by Jane Hirschfield, love poems by Ono Komachi. And this is one of Jane Hirschfield's most beautiful books, The Ink Dark Moon. And tonka is one of the oldest forms of poetry in Japan, and it was utilized as a form of communication and correspondence between friends, lovers, jilted friends, enemies. So here's the translation. Undisturbed, my garden fills with summer growth. How I wish for one who would push the deep grass aside. Like the sonnet, the tonka employs a turn known as a pivotal image, which marks the transition from the examination of an image to the examination of the personal response. This turn is located within the third line, connecting the kaminoku, or upper poem, with the shimonoku, or lower poem. So they can be actually two separate poems. Compassion for all sentient beings. Few praying mantis on this year's summer flowers. Few ladybugs, too. Where did the butterflies go? Oh, lonely garden, weeping. This one points for me to live with conviction, so you have no regrets. When they're gone, poisoned by rodenticides. An empty sky again this year, whereas in my youth, how alive with soaring wings I do recall another time. Long treasured in the past, many of us remember. Now the sky's memories are printed on pages, and you sit with your grandchild nestled by your side, reading a story at bedtime. The shapes are a mist to her as you tell her the raptor tales, grand ones. Only angels and spirits could bear witness to unparalleled ethereal mysteries, laser-focused vision, grace, and powerfully fierce but humble regal presence. and you hold your grandchild's finger to trace the wing on the page, finding softness of fingers in the recesses of imagination, rendering an aching sense of loss, unable to still lingering regrets when she asks, where did they go? This one points toward, don't worry about what other people think of you. Be true to yourself. A scattering of seed. Little bits cling to socks in the garage. Little bits end up in the house. Then a picking up, a tidying to clean them away. Broom in hand, she goes outside. Those messy trees drop pollen in spring and leaves in fall, and those horrid sticky balls that fall and hurt her feet. Now, bare-limbed, a shower of seed peppers the sidewalk and sticks like glue to her car. Broom poised to battle, she looks up. Mourning doves, white-crowned sparrows, juncos, lesser goldfinch, waiting, looking. She changes her mind. Upon getting into her car, she notices a neighbor's clean sidewalks. Most had cut down those messy trees. Hers is embarrassing, with a dusting of seeds scattered all over her walkways and driveway. A mess, she thinks, and as she looks back upon driving away, the birds there feasting, a gift of bounty just for them. This one points toward technology does not replace love. And I wrote this some years ago when I heard that scientists were developing and creating robot bees. That's right, robot bees. Robot bee lamentation. Behind sunflowers, robot bee waits at dusk. As the ancient ones fly home, and glimmers of sunset are caught by the looking glass of their eyes. Gentle creatures, wings beating softly, bodies gliding on currents of wind, heavy with golden pollen, spilled upon them after gripping a locked blossom and buzzing a musical note. The ancient one's history, dating back 120 million years, ignore robot bee. Her stiff metal alloy plastic body seen through sheer petals. Robot bee yearns to be grateful, genteel, and spontaneous, yet her programming only allows her to pollinate almond blossoms. She strains to fly amidst the ancients in the bending rustle of garden flowers, make music, collect pollen, and sip nectar, but no, she tumbles mercilessly, and the ancients only see her as a pitiful but ominous thing. As the ancients line up to enter their hive, ever so respectfully, of one another, they murmur among themselves, "This may be our time to be no more." So this one points to kindness. I won't do it again. Wet rain boots left at the kitchen door, weary but gratefully home after a long day. Upstairs, the house cats jump off the bed as I remove my coat to hang on a chair. I glance at the glass dining room slider where 3 sets of masked eyes peer in. I'm not feeding them, crosses my mind, as one presses her nose against the pane, another stands on her hind feet, wringing hands, bending wrists, and pulling fingers. The other one claps in the air, her hair slicked down in the drizzle of misty fog. I'm not feeding them, though it's a stiff winter chill. It's best to let them forage. By now, the cats are watching the show as the bandits on their hind legs dance. I refuse to do this again as I fill a bowl with peanuts, raisins, and small carrots. The raccoons eat quickly, scooping up the food and drink from the bird bath. And as the cat strained to see 3 tails heading off into the long, dark night, I looked to see the last of their shadows, hoping they have a warm place to sleep. So this is humor. We all need to have humor.
Oh, yeah.
A parody of beat lingo. The gin mill cowboy leans against the bar, his beer in hand, facing the crowd. In other words, he's a regular. He's a shape in the drape this evening in his black jacket, striped tee, and black jeans. In other words, he's dressed to impress. Claws sharp, the young man listens to the beat poetry. He's a well-informed cat. Some say he's got the bright disease, in other words, too smart for his own good. The bartender has him figured out, though. He's hanging paper, paying with bad checks. And he isn't even jungled up, doesn't even have his own place, lives with his parents. They gave him a classic lead sled, a car. I don't care if you think this is off the cob, in other words, corny. He's just being a young man quail hunting, trying to meet girls. Hanging out in this local red onion, sacred grounds. And by the end of the night, the bartender will make him a pearl driver, in other words, a dishwasher. Now, if you don't dig this man, don't waste your time getting bent out of shape. He's a cool cat beatnik. I just have a few more. So this one points to all life is sentient. Grandiflora rose. Planted next to the front door of the vacant house, she watched cars rush by on the busy street. Tall, dry grasses filled the once groomed yard where a lawn rolled out on its lush of green. Bulbs planted among perennial shrubs and flowers bloomed each season, a bird bath always full. Bees, butterflies, and birds visited often, and laughter. She recalls fondly how the wife planted her, bare root, hands holding steady, fanning out stiff roots while the husband dug the hole. Grandiflora rosa, honey Dijon, a fusion of butter yellows, peach and browns with a sweet fragrance of musk. Then after many roses and years, the children grew up, and the couple packed up the house to move. The wife left her behind with a longing look as the husband drove away. I have a few poems about my mother. My mother is a World War II survivor who survived the invasion in the Philippines. And my cousin here, her dad, survived also. So this poem points toward have a purpose in your life and survive it. Scars, Philippines, sweet potatoes, and mango. My 5-year-old fingers pressed coconut oil onto the raised red edge around the glassy skin, about the size of my palm, on my mother's brown thigh, not unlike a dozen or more other scars on her legs, painting stories like faded tattoos. She pointed to one, bombers overhead, shrapnel pierced my legs, a basket of sweet potatoes flying, flesh burning, hot blood flowing, but the only pain I felt was constant hunger. For 2 years they ran from village to village they hid. During the day, dressed as a boy, she went to the old farm fields and hands plunged into the womb of earth, pulling sweet potatoes to light, setting them free, a sacred find. The assault passing over, she knelt to gather all that she could save, placing them back into the basket and running with the others into a grove of mango where fruit laid next to rotting bodies. and she picked up as many as the basket would hold. That night, Tita Lola baked sweet potatoes in hot rocks under the tropical skies, and the children ate the warm, soft orange flesh as if they were chocolate confections, mango juice dribbling down their chins, sucking on the big seeds. My mother stroked my hair as I rubbed the oil over her scars. Thank you so much. So this is my second to last poem. And this is also a high bun, and this is gratitude. And this is a story that was verified. My cousin helped to verify it. And it's gratitude to the Japanese officer, World War II, 1944, countryside in Pampanga Province, the Philippine Islands. And I felt this story is just a great example of how people in war or immigrants or whoever they are, we really just all are people. And in the end, we stand on the same side. The young Japanese officer stood against killing Filipinos during World War II. His father told him it was duty to obey Emperor Hirohito's command. Instead, he helped the villagers survive, my mother and her family for one, bringing them food, finding hiding places, knowing the entire time, if caught, he'd be executed. 11-year-old shrapnel sores eat flesh on legs, running in the night. He brings them canned food, medicine for infections, bombs keep her awake. One day he doesn't come. They say he may have been caught. Girl weeps in the rain. Thank you. So this is my last poem, and this one points to me, for me, toward humility and beauty. And this was published in the Sacred Grounds Anthology, which I am really proud of. Of course. I'm very proud of it. So this is a special night because this is the full moon. This is the last full moon of this decade, and it's called the cold moon. All the moons of every month were named by Native American indigenous peoples. And this is for January. It bears noting the wolf moon, when the ancient tongue of sage, wormwood, and rosemary drops below whispers, we can trust them to tend us. The dry, deep-rooted tangle of cosmos and sunflowers stretches the attention, offering an unobstructed view of the blue and vast winter world. January exhales, and the wolf moon yawns in a white glow of a frost-biting night, while the garden leaps into the season with a shiver. How soft the earth is after a first rain, and how nothing listens better than a quiet moment when tendrils of silence leave room for reverie. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. One more little round. That was good. So, thank you very much. We're going to take a break, 5-7 minutes-ish. We'll be back. Karen Melander Magoon is here, and she's going to be the... yes, she's going to kick it off and end it. She is the last word. So, perfect for that, perfect arrival time. Schmooze with your friends, talk to people, heap praise upon this individual here, and we shall be back in due course. Or not. Or we are. Never mind. Okay, so then you touch the ground.